I'm Gottlieb, pianist. I was a resident here at the Fondation in 1975 and 1976 as a Harriet Hale Woolley scholar. Well, in my case, it's not really literally a case of institution, because I was working with one woman who herself was known to be an institution, Nadia Boulanger. In fact, one of her past well-known students, Virgil Thompson, called her a one-woman graduate school. So there was no institution per se in my case. Well, I was dealing with a phenomenon working with Nadia Boulanger, but also simultaneously I was working with Olivier Messiaen and his amazing guru pianist wife, Yvonne Loriot. So I was working with, I call the three monstres sacrés, the sacred monsters in music in France at that time. If you want to talk about method, her method was Socratic method. Not coming in and saying, hello class, today we're going to talk about this, which is the normal French system. And she, from the get-go, was never like that. People who worked with her way before I did said this was her method, always was. Who are you? You, she would say. Who are you opposite me? What do you have to say? What do you think? What do you know? What do you hear? It's kind of a mantra. What's exciting for me is every time I'm here at the Fondation, it feels like coming home. It feels like coming back to the nest from which I flew. That's how I see it, especially given the fact that I chose to remain in Paris as base for my international career. My career began while I was here, which is amazing, not after. The spring of '76, I replaced Yvonne Loriot, back to that name again, in a huge concert, a world premiere, at Salle Gaveau, with one of the major orchestras here, and as a soloist. And she had no time. It was a huge but enormous piece, way too long. She just said, I give it to Jay. And so the generosity of the teacher to the student had it that I was able to give this world premiere at Salle Gaveau, and one thing leads to another, and then I'm all over the world. That's it, you know. I'm giving solo recitals, playing with chamber music of every variety, very much more oriented, shall we say, towards creation, premieres, so living composers, and they're writing works for me. It gets on a roll, and then, you know, CD recordings and all of that, and awards and prestigious situations like that. But it all began here. The composer, Adrien Clostre, writes me a solo piano piece that I played here in June, end of my stint here. So, I mean, obviously that recital that you give at the end of a Harriet Hale Woolley year is, you know, the results of your year's work. And indeed, what I was working on for hours up on that 5th floor, I played in the recital, in that end of recital, but it included, this is something total, how could I ever foresee it, a world premiere by a composer who was sitting in that audience at the end. And then, of course, you know, the relationship continues. In 2000, years later, 2008, is the centennial of Elliott Carter's birth. And I'm invited to play here a recital to commemorate the centennial, because he's born in 1908. And then later, I'm asked by Noémie to be part of the selection committee for future Harriet Hale Woolleys, which I did more than gladly. I like that. You know, the whole idea of transmission is there. I availed myself, of course, of neighbors, you know, spaces like the artists, for example, atelier, which you know, friends are made and then friends associate with each other. And how many parties did I go to in the artist atelier? And I loved the space in there and the light in there and discussions with the artists there. Meeting in the kitchen, absolutely, you go there, you know, for midnight, you know, hot chocolate or something, and then there's a singer who's on the floor with you. And she says, Jay, would you like to do, I have a coaching session soon with Martina Arroyo, one of the great singers of all time, right? In a few days, would you like to play for me? I said, I'd love to. And so I went and met Martina Arroyo, but it was thanks to, you know, having a coffee at midnight in the, you know, in the coffee room on the 5th floor. I could go on, and then lifelong friendships with people that I met here. So the exchange was rich, what can I say? You know, very, very, very rich. You know.